The sun sat high and smug over Pinewood Estates that Saturday morning, the kind of perfect suburban glow that makes every lawn look identical and every rule feel holy. My backyard had been transformed into something soft and mine for once. No beige compliance paint, no approved-only flower colors. Pink roses cascaded down the lattice I'd spent weeks weaving between naps and doctor appointments. Hand-cut paper banners spelled, "Welcome baby girl," in pearl and blush. The three-tiered cake waited under a lace tent, frosting roses so delicate they looked like they might melt if anyone breathed wrong. 8 months pregnant, I smoothed the linen tablecloth one last time, checked my phone, 2:15, and allowed myself the tiniest smile. This was supposed to be my day. After 34 years of shrinking so everyone else could shine, after building hearth and hand designs for my kitchen table, while the HOA fined me for non-compliant garden accents, I was finally throwing a party that wasn't about anyone else. My small circle of prenatal yoga friends would arrive soon, and for 2 hours the neighborhood's endless covenants could choke on their own perfection. The doorbell chimed. Sarah stepped on the porch with a pink-wrapped gift and the kind of hug that didn't feel like an inspection. "Colleen, this is gorgeous. Did you seriously make every single paper flower while growing a human?" I laughed, cheeks warm, because yes, I had, between 60-hour work weeks and the constant ache in my lower back. More friends trickled in, voices gentle, laughter real. No one asking why my hydrangeas weren't the exact shade of board-approved ivory. Just warm hands on my belly and genuine, "You look radiant." Then the front gate slammed like a judge's gavel. Karen Harrington, Pinewood Estates HOA president, pearl necklace gleaming like a crown, swept in wearing her signature concerned neighbor smile that never reached her eyes. Behind her, husband Richard and their golden boy son Austin, Princeton acceptance letter clutched like an Olympic torch. "Oh, Colleen, darling," Karen trilled, voice syrupy enough to rot teeth. "We heard you were hosting a little gathering and thought, how perfect. Austin just got the news this morning. Full ride to Princeton. We simply had to celebrate with the community." Before I could open my mouth, Austin's frat pack surged through the gate waving orange and black banners. Someone's muddy sneaker crushed the first rose arrangement. Another knocked over the gift table. Red Solo cups appeared like magic. Selfies exploded everywhere, Princeton letters held high, my pink decor now background noise. I stood there, one hand on my belly where my daughter kicked hard, watching my careful world disappear under a sea of tiger pride. Karen patted my shoulder like I was a confused puppy. "Don't worry, sweetie, it's all in the spirit of neighborhood unity. The covenants allow for spontaneous community events, remember? We voted on it last quarter. Article 17, subsection C." Her smile widened. "Besides, Austin's future is the future of Pinewood Estates. You understand." Sarah's hand found mine, squeezing. My other friends shifted uncomfortably, but no one dared challenge the woman who could slap a $500 fine on your mailbox for the wrong shade of mulch. I retreated to the kitchen, hands shaking as I gathered scattered plates, frosting ground into the hardwood I'd refinished myself last year. From the living room, Austin's voice boomed, launching into the acceptance story while Karen played gracious hostess on my sofa. A crash. One of the boys stumbled backward into my "It's a girl" banner. Red punch soaked the hand-lettered paper I'd cut at 3 a.m. "Last week," Karen called out sweetly. "Just things, darling. Don't stress. Pregnancy hormones make everything feel bigger than it is." I knelt despite the ache in my back, blotting stains while laughter erupted from my hijacked celebration. No one offered help. No one even seemed to see the pregnant woman on her knees cleaning up their mess. My daughter kicked again, harder, like she was already tired of being invisible. In that moment, something shifted inside me, quiet, cold, and final. I slipped away to the nursery, closing the door on the noise. The afternoon sun filtered through gauzy curtains I'd sewn myself, casting soft shadows across the crib I'd assembled alone while the Harringtons were too busy touring Ivy League campuses. I sank into the rocking chair, fingers brushing the yellowed letter from my grandmother tucked in the cushion. Her spidery handwriting had never felt more relevant. There comes a time when protecting what matters means standing up to those who never thought you would. Laughter from outside rattled the windows. But instead of shrinking, I felt clarity crystallize. Tomorrow would be different. I pressed my palm to the wall of the nursery I'd paid for with my own business, feeling the solid reality of this house I'd bought after years of 60-hour weeks. My daughter kicked once more, strong and certain. And I knew I would go as far as I had to. Morning light glinted off shattered glass in my kitchen sink the next day. Princeton brochures fanned across the counter, glossy pages stuck together with dried cake frosting. A receipt fluttered out from between them. Application fees, campus visits, testing costs, all charged to a credit card I didn't recognize at first. My card. My hand trembled as I pulled open the desk drawer. Bank statements spilled out, neat organization destroyed. Red ink circled withdrawal after withdrawal. Karen's looping signature redirecting funds from my business account to her HOA Community Scholarship Fund. An old mason jar rolled against my fingers, hidden beneath tax forms. Inside, a yellowed receipt from 6 years ago, my first month's rent in that cramped studio while I paid off the Harringtons' credit card debt after they helped me buy this house. The same house they'd been living in rent-free for the last 8 months after Karen declared their place under emergency renovation and invoked Article 12, temporary neighbor hospitality. My phone buzzed. "Sarah, how are you feeling after yesterday?" Before I could answer, another message. "Dr. Martinez, blood pressure concerns. Can you come in this week?" Then an email from Linda, my most loyal client and a family law attorney. "Saw some weird activity on your business accounts. Let me know if you need help. You're not alone." The floor creaked behind me. "Sweetheart." Karen's voice dripped honey. "Austin's friends need somewhere to stay this summer. You have so much space here. And we'll need the nursery for temporary storage, just his college supplies. You understand?" Richard added from the hallway, already measuring my walls with his eyes. Their voices drifted as they walked away, planning which of Austin's Princeton buddies would take which rooms next fall. My rooms. My house. The baby kicked hard against my ribs. I sank into my office chair, pulling up eviction notice templates on my laptop. The printer hummed, spitting out 3 copies, official language about termination of temporary residency and required vacancy. My signature wavered on the first, steadied on the second, turned iron on the third. This wasn't just about one ruined party. This was 34 years of being the neighborhood's invisible cash machine. Bogus violation notices for non-compliant rose color, excessive backyard activity. Every fine funneled straight into Austin's tuition while Karen smiled at board meetings and called me such a generous neighbor. The sealed envelopes sat on my kitchen table like little bombs. But what I didn't know then was that the Harringtons had already been through my computer while I slept. The war had started before I fired my first shot. Inside my quiet house, the grandfather clock I'd restored myself ticked steadily. Each second marked the distance between the daughter I'd been and the mother I needed to become. I picked up my phone, opened Linda's email again. "You're not alone." The words echoed as I looked around my office. Every surface held evidence of their exploitation. The desk I'd refinished while they complained about the dust. The filing cabinet where I'd logged 5 years of creative bookkeeping. A photo tucked in my mirror frame caught my eye. Me at 17, art school acceptance letter in hand, dreams still bright before the Harringtons convinced me it was selfish and Austin's future had to come first. The front door slammed. Austin's voice carried up the stairs, casual as an owner. "Yeah, just crash here. My neighbor won't mind." My fingers traced the edges of the envelopes. They weren't just eviction notices. They were declarations of independence, for me and for the daughter who would never learn to make herself smaller. A text lit on my phone. My business partner saw weird emails going out to clients. "Did you authorize account changes?" My throat tightened. Of course they tried to access my client list. My success had always been their resource, never their celebration. The baby kicked again, stronger. I pressed my palm there. I know, little one. Mommy's done being invisible. I slipped the notices into my purse. Each one carried 34 years of sacrifices. Tomorrow they would be delivered. Tonight, I had preparations. Security cameras ordered overnight, passwords changed, nursery door reinforced. The sun set behind the window, casting long shadows. In the growing dark, I finally saw what had been invisible in the light. I wasn't just fighting for my home or my business. I was fighting for my daughter's future. And this time I wouldn't back down. 7 days later, the sound of Karen's sobbing carried through the air vents like a bad theater performance. I braced one hand against my lower back, kept typing the latest evidence log. Her voice cracked with practiced precision. She's cutting us off from everything we've built together. Through my open window, car doors slammed. More board members arriving for the impromptu family meeting I hadn't been invited to. My phone buzzed. Rachel, my business partner. Those client emails didn't come from our system, but the writing style matches Karen's Christmas letters perfectly. My hands clenched. Not content with hijacking my baby shower, they tried to sabotage my income stream. The familiar urge to smooth things over pressed against my chest, but my daughter kicked, a sharp reminder. I pulled up the new security camera feed. Timestamp 2:47 a.m. Richard shuffling through my filing cabinet while Karen kept watch. Their whispered conversation crystal clear. Find anything on the business accounts? Not yet, but she has to have paper records somewhere. A printer hummed downstairs, my printer spitting out bank statements I'd gathered. The folder grew thicker by the hour. Heavy footsteps thundered past my door. Austin practicing dramatic door slams. She's lost her mind. It's those pregnancy hormones. You know how women get. The irony almost made me laugh. He'd used the same excuse when I caught him borrowing my card for application fees last fall. Another text, Dr. Martinez, blood pressure still elevated. Document all stress triggers. Below it, Sandra, my longest client, brought you dinner. It's by the back door. Don't answer if you're resting. The doorbell chimed. Aunt Caroline's voice drifted up, another bored wife. Where should we gather? The living room, Karen replied, tears magically gone. She'll have to face us there. I touched the manila envelope on my desk, heavy with 5 years of embezzled HOA dues funneled straight to Princeton. Time to show them exactly what community meant to the people who claim to love their neighbors most. My bones ached as I pushed myself up, but I walked down that hallway like a gauntlet, folder pressed against my chest like a shield. They fell silent when I appeared. 12 faces turned, concern, confusion, outright hostility. Karen perched on my sofa, tissue crushed in her manicured hands. Oh, sweetheart, we're so worried about you throwing neighbors out on the street. This isn't like you at all. I stepped into the room. You're right. It's not. And that's exactly the problem. Richard shifted into his reasonable voice, the one he used when explaining mysterious withdrawals. We know you're under a lot of stress, Colleen. Pregnancy does strange things to a woman's mind. We're here to help you think clearly. Austin lounged against the wall, arms crossed. Yeah, what happened to neighborly loyalty? The words hit like physical blows, each one designed to make me doubt myself. How many times had they weaponized my own conscience? I moved to the coffee table, set down the folder. The room held its breath. Let me show you what neighborly loyalty looks like. My voice stayed steady as I spread the papers. Credit card statements with Karen's signature on Nordstrom sprees charged to my business. Bank transfers authorized without my knowledge. Austin's forged checks. Aunt Caroline leaned forward, squinting. Her sharp intake of breath cut through Karen's stammered protests. Oh my God, Beth, what have you done? I stood straighter, one hand cradling my belly. This isn't about one party. This is about 34 years of invisibility. And neither is my daughter. I left them staring at the evidence. Upstairs, my laptop pinged, motion detected in the home office. They never could take no for an answer. But what the Harringtons didn't realize as they plotted in my kitchen that night was that I had already anticipated their next move. The client emails weren't the worst betrayal. The proof of what they'd done next was already in Linda's hands. They thought pregnancy made me weak. They were about to learn it had made me fierce. 14 days since the eviction notices. Midnight again. I typed the new master password for my business accounts, Claire 2024. The irony made me smile as I pictured Karen's frustration when her usual tricks failed. The doorbell camera arrived yesterday. I'd installed it while they were at Austin's counseling appointment, swollen fingers fighting tiny screws. Now it watched every visitor who might later claim they never got the notice. Sarah from prenatal yoga helped me pack an emergency bag in my trunk, just in case. The bank manager's face had hardened when I showed her the unauthorized transfers. Mrs. Harrington accessed your account 6 times last month. She pulled security footage without being asked. We'll flag any future attempts. A door creaked upstairs. I closed my laptop, hid it behind cookbooks. Karen's footsteps paused at the top of the stairs. I just don't understand after everything we've sacrificed for her. Mrs. Peterson next door had stopped bringing Karen her usual morning coffee. The weekly garden club meeting had been mysteriously rescheduled without her. Her sympathy calls now went straight to voicemail. The security system chimed. Unauthorized login attempt from the network printer. Richard had always thought he was cleverer than he was. Austin's voice boomed through the house last night. I have to live here. My Princeton friends are counting on it. Neighbors' porch lights flicked on one by one. Through the camera, I watched Mrs. Peterson step on her lawn in her robe, phone raised, recording. Karen's stage whispered, she's just being hormonal. We'll handle it like we always do. But their usual tactics weren't working anymore. The building inspector traced their anonymous complaint back to Richard's laptop. The church gossip about my mental instability came back to Pastor Mike, who spent an hour in my kitchen drinking tea and studying my comm answers. Such a shame, Mrs. Peterson told her garden club, loud enough for my open window, the way they've taken advantage of her and her condition. My business partner documented every threatening email sent to our clients. My doctor added notes about their impact on my blood pressure. Local police did wellness checks, logging every door slam and veiled threat about my fitness as a mother. 21 days in, their social circle crumbled. Karen's tears didn't move people like they used to. Richard's country club membership lapsed. Austin's Princeton contacts started asking questions about his living situation. Arguments leaked through the walls each night, louder as options dwindled. Richard's resignation letter from the country club board landed in my mailbox by mistake. Karen's voice grew shrill as cousin after cousin refused to take them in. They have to let us stay, Austin insisted yesterday, pacing my kitchen. Where else would we go? I touched my belly, feeling Claire's steady movements. That stopped being my problem the day you turned my baby shower into your Princeton party. Mom's sobs echoed from upstairs, but they didn't move me anymore. The pacing, the door slamming, they were running out of performances, running out of audience, running out of time. I thought I was ready for anything they might try in these final days. But when I checked the mail that morning, a heavy envelope bearing Princeton's crest made my heart skip. Not addressed to Austin, to me. The truth was about to change everything, and not in the way anyone expected. I slipped the letter into my desk drawer next to the stack of documentation I'd been gathering for weeks. The midnight hours stretched behind me like a long, dark road. I'd finally finished walking. Another text from Sarah. You okay? Need anything? I typed back, all good. Just waiting for the right moment. Upstairs, Austin's pacing stopped. In the sudden silence, I heard Karen whisper, what if she actually goes through with it? I rested my hand on my belly, feeling Claire's answering kick. We both knew the truth. I already had. Small boxes began appearing in the hallway outside my bedroom. Silent offerings left while I slept. A handmade quilt. A childhood photo album. Austin's worn baseball glove. Each one whispered, please. I nudged them aside with my foot. 27 days since the notices. 3 more until they had to leave. Colleen, Karen's voice drifted from the kitchen, softer than usual. I made your favorite pancakes. The scent of cinnamon and butter filled the air. A peace offering on my own china. I pressed my hand against my swollen belly, steadying myself. The baby kicked, as if sensing my hesitation. Just wanted to talk as a family. I found them arranged around my kitchen table like a Norman Rockwell painting gone wrong. Richard in his Sunday best, Karen in pearls reserved for special occasions, Austin in a pressed button-down, phone nowhere in sight. "Please sit," Karen said, pulling out my chair. The syrup's still warm. I remained standing. "What's this about?" "We've been thinking," Richard cleared his throat, "about everything that's happened. Maybe we all got caught up in the excitement about Princeton." The baby shower. Karen's eyes glistened. "We should have celebrated your special day." Austin stared at his plate. "I'm sorry about my friends, the mess they made." Pretty words. Rehearsed contrition. But something in Austin's voice caught my attention, a tremor of genuine fear. "I want to be a good uncle when the baby comes." The doorbell cut through his speech. A quick series of chimes followed by pounding. "Miss Grant?" "Princeton Office of Admissions." The blood drained from Austin's face. Karen's fork clattered against china. I opened the door to find a man in a charcoal suit, manila envelope in hand. "Miss Grant, I'm Thomas Weber, Assistant Dean of Admissions. We've been trying to reach Austin Harrington." Richard appeared behind me. "I'm his father. Is there a problem?" "Mr." Weber's expression stayed neutral. "We need to discuss some irregularities in Austin's application materials." The envelope contained a single sheet. I scanned the carefully worded paragraphs while my family held their breath. Scholarship revoked due to falsified community service hours and forged recommendation letters. Karen sank into a chair. Richard's jaw clenched. "That's impossible," Austin protested. "Those hours were real." Richard signed. He stopped suddenly, horror dawning. I pulled my laptop from the counter, opening the folder labeled insurance. Email threads appeared. Bank transfers, scanned documents with identical signatures. "You didn't just steal my baby's shower," I said, calm and precise. "You've been stealing my life. Every bogus fine, every redirected HOA dollar, every forged signature on my business account, all to buy Princeton prestige while you call me selfish for wanting my own daughter's future." Richard's voice rose. "We gave you life. You owe us everything. If you loved your neighbors, you wouldn't do this." Karen's tears flowed freely now. "After everything we've sacrificed, love doesn't take." I touched my belly, feeling my daughter's steady kicks. "It builds." Austin slumped forward. "They made me do it. Said we needed a success story for the family." Richard jabbed a finger toward me. "We've lived here. Contributed." I clicked through bank statements. "You mean the money you took from my business account for application fees? The credit cards open in my name? The HOA dues you embezzled and funneled into tuition?" The morning light streamed through my kitchen windows, illuminating dust motes and tired faces. Masks finally stripped away. And who was supposed to take care of me? Silence filled the room. Even the baby stilled. 3 days, I said, gathering the Princeton letter and my laptop. "You have 3 days to leave. The movers arrive Monday morning. The police will supervise. I suggest you start packing." Karen's sobs follow me down the hallway. Austin's muffled cursing. Richard's heavy footsteps. But for the first time in 34 years, their voices didn't reach inside me. Didn't wrap around my heart and squeeze. In the nursery morning sunlight painted the walls in shades of pink and gold. I sank into the rocking chair, one hand resting on my belly. "It's just us now, little one," I whispered with a lifetime of certainty. And that's exactly enough. Behind me, doors slammed, closet doors banged, the sounds of an empire imploding. But in this room, in this moment, I felt only peace. We'd survive the worst storm. Whatever came next, we'd weather it together. Mother and daughter, building something new from the ashes. 4 years later, the morning sun spilled through spotless windows, catching the sparkle of Claire's craft glitter scattered across my kitchen table. My 4-year-old daughter bent over her latest masterpiece, tongue poking out in concentration as she pressed another sequin into place. "Look, Mommy." She held up a birthday crown fashioned from construction paper and pure imagination. "For my party." I touched the careful rows of gems she'd arranged in a pattern only she understood. 4 years ago, I would have straightened them, tried to impose order the way Karen once did to every lawn in Pinewood Estates. Now I simply smiled. It's perfect exactly how you made it. The doorbell chimed. Sarah, now my chief operations officer, walked in carrying streamers in Claire's chosen colors, purple and silver. Behind her, 3 more friends filed in with supplies. The same living room that once witnessed my hijacked baby shower now hummed with genuine warmth and laughter. I helped too. Claire scrambled down, leaving a trail of glitter. She tugged my hand. Show them my special job. I led the group to our craft room, once my home office. The walls displayed framed magazine features about hearth and hand designs, now a nationwide brand. But pride of place belonged to Claire's artwork gallery, refreshed weekly with her latest creations. Claire designed all the place cards for today, I explained, watching my daughter carefully distribute paper hearts she'd painted herself. She picked everyone's colors. Purple for Mama because it's strong. Silver for DR. Amy because she makes people better. My old obstetrician, now just Amy, would arrive later as a guest. The family attorney who'd handled the eviction had become Uncle James, expert tickle monster and tea party participant. Back in the kitchen, I found an envelope propped against the coffee maker. Another letter from the young mother in Seattle who'd read about my foundation in Parents Magazine. The organization had started small, just me sharing business advice with women leaving toxic situations. Now we had chapters in 12 cities, helping homeowners fight abusive HOAs and entitled boards. Mama, can I put the sparkles on the cake? Claire's voice pulled me back. She stood on her step stool, eyeing the 3-tiered creation I'd baked yesterday. Of course, baby. I studied her as she carefully placed sugar crystals. Her small hands moved with more confidence than mine had shown at 30. The afternoon filled with the happy chaos of a 5-year-old's birthday party. Claire led her guests in an impromptu dance performance. My business partner's son shared his juice box without prompting. The attorney's daughter showed off her missing front tooth. I caught glimpses of my past self in quiet moments, straightening a crooked streamer, wiping a smudge, but the need for perfection had softened into appreciation for these imperfect, joyful moments. Later, as Claire blew out her candles in a shower of sparkles, someone snapped a photo. I'd frame it next to the small memory box in my bedroom, the one containing selected photographs and the letter my grandmother wrote so long ago. Claire would read it someday when she asked the right questions. For now, she knew the simple version. Some families are born and some are chosen. Ours was both. Story time, Claire announced after cake, retrieving her favorite book. One about the brave princess who built her own castle. My friends settled their children on the floor around my rocking chair, the same one where I'd first whispered promises to my unborn daughter. Once upon a time, I began. Claire snuggled against my chest. There was a princess who learned that real love builds things up. It doesn't tear them down. Claire knew this story by heart. Like you and me, Mama. We build good things. My chosen family filled the room with warmth. Their children sprawled across the rug in various states of sugar-induced contentment. The walls no longer echoed with manipulation and guilt. No one here would ever tell Claire her dreams were impractical or her art was just cute. The light caught the silver streamer Claire had hung slightly crooked above the window. I left it exactly as she'd placed it, beautiful in its imperfection. Some might call it cruel, closing the door on blood, or in this case, neighborhood ties. But I'd learned that respect, like love, should flow both ways. Claire would grow up knowing her worth wasn't measured by what she gave others. She would never learn to make herself smaller so someone else could feel big. Again, Mama, Claire requested as I closed the book. The castle part. I pulled her closer, breathing in birthday cake and glitter glue. Once upon a time, there was a princess who discovered that building something new was better than fixing something broken. And in the quiet after the last guest left, with Claire asleep against my shoulder and the house finally truly mine. I looked out at the backyard where pink roses once bloomed without permission. The HOA board had new leadership now, elected after the scandal that stripped Karen of her presidency and sent the Harringtons packing to a cheaper subdivision 2 states away. Austin never made it to Princeton. My foundation had already helped 37 women keep their homes and their dignity. I rocked gently, daughter safe in my arms, and smiled at the thought of that old nursery letter. Grandma had been right. Sometimes protecting what matters means standing up to those who never thought you would. And sometimes it means building a whole new kingdom where no one ever has to kneel again.